Hey everybody, I'm back with another week of the 1986 Major League Baseball replay. We are heading into the end of week 8, which will be from May 26th, 1986 through June 1st, 1986. So we're going to go through this as I usually do. I've added a couple more slides, so probably going to be a little bit longer. But let's head into week 8 to see how everybody did. So, as always, I'm going to go over the American League division leaders starting at the beginning of the week. So this will be as of May 26, 1986. The American League division leaders are the Baltimore Orioles at 24-17. They are a half game up in first place. In the Centrals, the Minnesota Twins, they're 23-20, and they are a game up in first place. And out in the West, we got the Texas Rangers at 29-14, and they lead by 2.5 games. As per the National League, in the East, we got the New York Mets at 29-12. They lead by 5.5 games. In the Central, you got Cincinnati Reds at 22-19, and they lead by 4.5 games. And out west, we got the Los Angeles Dodgers at 28-16, and they lead by 2.5 games. So, as per last time we're here for week 7, there was some trades and there was some transactions, so we're going to go through those briefly. Hopefully we can see everything on here. So this would be the trades and the transactions that would have happened between May 26th and June 1st. So what we got here is I'm going to do the call-ups. So the Giants called up Mike Aldretti, the first baseman and outfielder. The California Angels called up relief pitcher Chuck Finley. And then down toward the bottom, the Yankees called up Doug Drabek, starting pitcher. The Pirates, Barry Bonds, center fielder. And the Texas Rangers called up 2 people during this week. We got Dale Morisic, the relief pitcher, and Ruben Sierra, all-around outfielder. So those were our call-ups during that time, this week 8 period. And then some trades which I've done on myself to kind of help out a little bit. So you go through here and look here. Nothing too major. Jack Clark got traded to the Seattle Mariners from the St. Louis Cardinals. Dan Gladden got traded to the Chicago White Sox from the San Francisco Giants. And Larry Sheets went from the Baltimore Orioles to the Milwaukee Brewers. And Jerry Hairston, Sr., got traded to the San Francisco Giants. There's other players there, as you can see. Chris Chambliss got traded to the Cleveland Indians. And a couple of other players here as well. So that's what happened on this week. So again, those trades are something that did not actually happen during the 86 replay. That was something that I have done just to kind of balance out some teams and give some teams some help without trading any major players. So that's what we got there. So that is what happened. The call-ups are actually what happened, and the trades are fictitious, and it's something that I did during that week. Okay, so we're heading on to our week in review. So this week in baseball from May 26th to June 1st, 1986. So we got Monday, May 26th. We have the Cincinnati Reds at the Chicago Cubs. Cincinnati's catcher Bo Diaz has 5 RBIs in that win, 11-3. Boston Red Sox at the Cleveland Indians. Cleveland starting pitcher Don Schultz blanks the Sox 4-0. The A's at the Tigers. Oakland starting pitcher Moose Haas blanks Detroit 1-0. The Brewers at the Royals. Kansas City center fielder Willie Wilson has a walk-off sacrifice fly in the 10th. Kansas City wins 3-2. Blue Jays at the Twins. Toronto's starting catcher Buck Martinez has a 2-run homer in extras. That's enough for the victory in 10. Blue Jays over Twins 4-2. Padres at the Expos. Expos have a 4-run 8th inning, which puts the game away for them in their victory 10-4. Angels at the Yankees. California's rookie first baseman Wally Joyner's 3-run homer in the 9th cracks the Yanks 6-4. The Braves at the Pirates. Pirates starting pitcher Rick Rhoden gives up 1 run in the victory. Pittsburgh wins 2-1. The Orioles at the Mariners. The Orioles score 2 runs late to secure the victory 4-2. The Astros at the Cardinals. Houston starting pitcher Mike Scott gives up 2 runs in the victory. Astros win 5-2. White Sox at the Rangers. The Rangers score 5 runs over the last few innings for the win. Rangers win 6-4. Tuesday, May 27th. Reds at Cubs. Cincinnati starting pitcher Bill Gullickson shuts down the Cubs 6-0. Red Sox at the Indians. Cleveland extends the Boston losing streak to 5 games. Cleveland over Red Sox 6-5. Brewers at Royals. Kansas City starting pitcher Mark Gubiza blanks the Brewers 5-0. Blue Jays at the Twins. Toronto's 7-run 7th permanently puts them ahead over the Twins 12-6. Padres at Expos. Montreal's 4-run 5th is good enough to hold on for the victory. Expos win 4-3. Dodgers at Mets. Battle of 2 division leaders. Los Angeles starting pitcher Fernando Valenzuela cools down the Mets in a 10-1 victory. Giants at the Phillies. The Phillies get walked 8 times in the game, good enough for some runs, and beats the Giants 4-2. Braves at the Pirates. Bottom of the Pirates lineup collects 5 RBIs in the win. Pirates win 5-2. Astros at the Cardinals. Newly acquired starting pitcher for St. Louis, Joaquin Andujar blanks the Stros 7-0. And the final game of the 27th, we got the White Sox at the Rangers in an extra inning game. Texas's second baseman, Steve Buechele, walks it off in extras 7-6. Wednesday, May 28th. The Tigers at the Angels. California's starting shortstop Rick Burleson walks with the bases loaded in extras in the 10th for the Angels win 4-3. Reds at the Cubs. Chicago's starting left fielder Gary Matthews has 2 home runs in the Cubs' victory over the Reds 8-6. Red Sox at the Indians. Cleveland starting pitcher Tom Candiotti is the first pitcher with 9 wins in the season. Helps by beating the Red Sox 7-5. Brewers at the Royals. Milwaukee's right fielder Rob Deere hits 2 home runs in the victory, 8-4. Blue Jays at the Twins. Toronto scores in all but 1 inning in the win. Blue Jays all over the Twins, 11-3. Padres at Expos. Montreal scores 7 runs over the last 3 innings to secure the victory, 7-2. Dodgers at the Mets. New York's sub-catcher, Ed Hearns, walks off the game with a grand slam, 9-6. Orioles at the A's. Newly acquired Oakland Athletics starting pitcher Dave Stewart is masterful in his first start for Oakland, 7-3. Giants at the Phillies. The Phillies totally destroy the San Francisco pitching staff, 11-2. Braves at Pittsburgh. In an extra inning game, Atlanta's DH Chris Chambliss' home run in extras is good enough to help the Braves win, 4-3. The New York Yankees at the Seattle Mariners. Seattle starting pitcher Mike Moore, in one of his better starts, slows down the Yankees' bats. Seattle wins 3-2. Astros at the Cardinals. Houston's right fielder Terry Pools, 3-for-4 with 1 homer and 2 RBIs, helps propel the Astros over the Cardinals, 9-4. And finally, the last game of Wednesday the 28th, Texas' starting third baseman Larry Parrish's 5 RBIs carries the Rangers in the victory, 9-4. Heading off to Thursday, May 29th, the Tigers at the Angels. California starting pitcher Kirk McCaskill limits the Tigers to 2 runs in helping the Angels win 4-2. The Dodgers at the Mets. Dodgers' 5-run first inning carries them to victory, 5-2. Orioles at the Athletics. Oakland starting center fielder Dwayne Murphy's 3 RBIs carries Oakland in the win, 5-1. Giants at the Phillies. Starting shortstop for the Giants, Jose Uribe, has 5 RBIs, and starting pitcher Mike Krukow has 13 strikeouts to stop the Phils, 10-5. And in the final game of Thursday is the Yankees at the Mariners. The Yankees hold off the M's in the end for the win, 4-3. Friday, May 30th, Orioles at the Angels. Baltimore's first baseman Eddie Murray's 2-run homer in the 9th propels the Orioles in the victory over the Angels, 3-2. Braves at Cubs. Cubs' 7-run third inning enough in victory, 9-4. Cardinals at the Reds. St. Louis's starting pitcher John Tudor shuts down the Reds, 8-0. Brewers at the Indians. Brewers' 9th inning rally falls short. Indians win 6-5. Expos at the Astros. Houston's 6-run 7th blows the door open in the win, 12-1. Rangers at Royals. Kansas City blasts off Texas with 4 home runs, 6-3. Red Sox at the Twins. Boston snaps their 6-game losing streak, 10-7. Giants at the Mets in extras. Giants hold off the Mets in extras in the 13th, 5-4. The Yankees at the Athletics. Oakland batters New York starting pitcher Joe Niekro for 8 runs in an 8-4 victory. Padres at the Phillies. Philadelphia starting third baseman Mike Schmidt's 2-run homer puts them ahead late 4-3. Dodgers at the Pirates. Pittsburgh Pirates rookie starting pitcher Jose De Leon blanks the Dodgers 1-0. Tigers at the Mariners. Detroit's starting pitcher Eric King hits the M's in 11-1 victory. And the final game for Friday, May 30th, Chicago White Sox at the Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto's left field George Bell walks off with a single in extras in the 10th to help the Blue Jays win 7-6. Heading into Saturday, May 31st, Orioles at the Angels. Baltimore pulls out the victory in extras in the 11th, 10-7. The Braves at the Cubs. Chicago's right fielder Keith Moreland walk-off 2-run homer in the 9th ties it up and helps the Cubs in the 11th. Or, that's not the 11th. So, the walk-off homer in the 9th, 11-9. Cardinals at the Reds. Cardinals edge the Reds 4-3. Brewers at the Indians. The Brewers scrapes past the Indians 3-2. Expos at the Astros. Montreal's 4-run 9th sinks the Astros 6-3. The Rangers at the Royals. Rangers outslug the Royals 8-4. Red Sox at the Twins. Boston left fielder Jim Rice's 3-run homer late in the game is enough for the Red Sox to win 9-8. Giants at the Mets. San Francisco's shortstop Jose Uribe solo home run in the 8th sinks the Mets and Dwight Gooden 2-1. Yankees at the A's. A's 3-run 8th comeback helps in their victory. A's win 4-3. Padres at the Phillies. San Diego's 4-run second stops the Phillies 5-3. Dodgers at the Pirates. Pittsburgh center fielder Barry Bonds' first career home run in the Pirates' loss to the Dodgers 7-5. Tigers at the Mariners. The Tigers murder M's pitching in this game 13-5. White Sox at the Blue Jays. Toronto starting pitcher John Cerruti blanks the White Sox 5-0. And in the final game of the week, Sunday, June 1st, Orioles at the Angels. California's right fielder George Hendricks hits a walk-off single in the 10th to help the Angels win 9-8. Braves at the Cubs. Chicago Cubs starting pitcher Scott Sanderson 3 hits the Braves in a 5-1 victory. Cardinals at the Reds. The Reds starting pitcher Tom Browning allows 1 run in the win and helps the Reds win 6-1. Brewers at the Indians. Cleveland's backup catcher Chris Bando's 2-run homer is enough for the win. Indians 3-2. Expos at the Astros. Houston's starting pitcher Mike Scott gives up 1 run in extras. Astros win 2-1. Rangers at Royals. Royals outslug Texas in the win 7-2. Red Sox at the Twins. Minnesota's starting shortstop Greg Gagne hits a walk-off triple in extras. Twins win it in 10, 3-2. Giants at the Mets. New York Mets starting third baseman Ray Knight hits 2 home runs in the victory. Mets win 4-2. Yankees at the A's. Yanks 2-run ninth sinks the A's 5-4. Padres at the Phillies. San Diego's 5 home runs are not enough in their loss to the Phillies 12-7. Dodgers at the Pirates. Pittsburgh starting pitcher Rick Rhoden 4 hits the Dodgers in a 1-0 victory. Tigers at Mariners. Detroit's first baseman Darrell Evans hits 2 home runs in their victory 7-2. The White Sox at Blue Jays, the final game of the week on Sunday, June 1st, 1986. The Blue Jays send the White Sox to 10 straight losses in a 3-2 victory. Chicago is slowly sinking out of the playoff picture in the American League Central. So that is our review of the week. So let's go on for our Week 8 summary. So our top teams for the week. We got the Toronto Blue Jays at 6-0. Cleveland Indians at 5-1. Oakland Athletics at 5-1. Chicago Cubs at 4-2. The Pittsburgh Pirates at 4-2. And the not top teams of the week. We got the Chicago White Sox at 0-6. Atlanta Braves at 1-5. Minnesota Twins at 1-5. San Diego Padres at 1-5. And the Seattle Mariners at 1-5. So, our American League standings as of June 1st. We got the Baltimore Orioles are up 1.5 games over the Blue Jays and the Yankees with a 27-20 record. The Kansas City Royals have vaulted their way up over the Twins to first place after a horrible week for the Twins. Royals are up by 2 games with a 26-23 record. And out west, Rangers keep on winning, and they increase their lead over the California Angels by 2.5 games with a 33-16 record. So there is your output there of the American League as of June 1st, which leads us to our power rankings. So our power rankings in the American League is pretty much not too bad. We got the Rangers and Angels at 1 and 2. That's still the same. We got the Orioles coming in at 3. We got the Blue Jays and Yankees. They're chasing down the Orioles at 4 and 5. Kansas City 6. And we got the White Sox, who've kind of just really blew it the last 2 weeks. 10 straight losses. They're down at 13, with the Mariners sticking around the 14 ranking. So hopefully some changes there. So overall, that is the American League power rankings. So let's go head over to the National League. Our National League standings. as of June 1st. We got the New York Mets at 31-16. They're up 3.5 games over the Expos. In the Central, we got the Reds keeping on winning with a 25-22 record. They're up 3.5 games over the Cubs. And out west, we got the Dodgers at 31-19. They're up 1.5 games over the Astros. So we got a pretty good race there in the West. And the Central could get interesting. As you can see, the Cubs have won 4 in a row. So that's what's going on there in the National League. So let's bounce up to their National League power rankings. And just like weeks past, we got the New York Mets, the number 1 overall team. The Dodgers being a close second. Then we got the Astros 3, Expos 4, Reds 5. Phillies have won themselves up in the middle of the pack at 6. We got the Cardinals. Cardinals are scraping the bottom along with the Braves. Cardinals in 12th overall. Pretty good favorite at the beginning of the season to win the Central. And they just can't get it done with a 16-32 record. So that is our NL power rankings as of June 1st. So now let's go over to the American League team batting stats here. As you can see here, I have highlighted with the best of each column here. Indians still have the great bats, 304 team average, which is still good over since 2 months. That's pretty good. And we got Rangers with a good slugging percentage. We got 268 runs by the Indians, with 20 triples by the Rangers. That's 77 home runs by the Mariners, which is a big shock. And they have a 253 batting average, 77 dingers, and they can't buy a win. And then we got Boston Red Sox, who strike out the least out of all the American League at 234 up to date. And then looks like the Tigers and the Angels are running wild with 68 stolen bases on the year, with the Blue Jays in third with 64. And the Rangers don't commit too many errors, 31 up to date. So that's less than 1 error every 2 games for them. So let's head over to the American League pitching. And we got the Rangers, young starting pitcher group with a 3.47 ERA. With the Angels a close second. The Angels got a couple high-scoring games this past week, which bumped their ERA up to a 3.5. Still not too bad. We got the Kansas City Royals at 3.76. They've been doing it pretty good with the arms over the last week or two. And again, you got the Mariners there, 6.22 ERA. They can't score enough, but they give up a lot. 303 earned runs for the year at this point. So that is a lot of runs. So we got Angels have a 352 strikeouts for the year. Pretty good staff there. 17 complete games by the Tigers. A lot of complete games there. That's something. Those high numbers there in 86. If we have 17 combined complete games for the whole MLB last season, we're lucky. So there's the stats there for your American League. So for all you guys for the National League, let's bring up some of those batting stats. We got the Padres and the Mets. They've been 1-2 pretty much all year. The Mets bats have been quiet. Pretty much this week was shut down by the Dodgers and the Giants. So they're 270 batting average, with the Padres 279 batting average. They have a pretty decent lineup, but they can't seem to buy a win. So they're hitting as a National League best 279 as a team. They got 486 combined hits. We got the Mets with 64 home runs. And look at the Cardinals. Talk about running wild. It's almost double the American League best teams. 117 stolen bases. Continuation of a good year for speedy left fielder Vince Coleman. The team has 117 stolen bases out of 154 attempts. 76% stolen base average, which is pretty good. And we got two teams vying for the least amount of errors. We got the Expos and the Astros at 28. So that's a quick look at the National League team batting. Let's take a look at the National League team pitching stats. And we got the Astros and the Mets. The Astros at 3.12 ERA. That's a tough pitching staff there with Nolan Ryan and Mike Scott. And with the addition of rookie Jim DeShays and some veteran pitching by Bob Knapp, they are a tough team. The Dodgers better watch out because their bats start getting a little hot for the Astros. I think they could go get pretty far, but their bats are not quite there yet. Pitching is all over. So they've given up 147 earned runs, which is very, very good. The Mets have more strikeouts, 353. That starting five is just scary. And then again, look at the complete games. We got the Astros at 16 complete games and 5 shutouts. 3 of them are from Mike Scott. And there is your National League pitching stats as of June 1st. So let's take a quick look. These are the players that are currently on the disabled list for the American League. Just going through a quick glance there. Brian Downing will be coming off his 15-game DL stint, along with Dale Swaim on the 3rd of June. Gary Pettis, we got 2 games there. Jesse Barfield, his 6-game DL stint. And Kirby Puckett, who seems to be living this year on the disabled list. This is like his 4th or 5th time on the disabled list so far. His 8 games, along with Paul Molitor. He's living there on the DL with another 6-game DL. I think he's been on there 4 or 5 times. And probably the biggest blow for this week is starting third baseman Jim Presley for the Seattle Mariners. He hits the 10-game DL. He had a 10-game DL in the beginning of the season and has been red hot since coming back. And then he gets hit with another 10-game DL list. So that's going to further sink the Mariners, one of their shining lights, with Jim Presley being on the DL for 10 games. So as per the National League, got a couple players here. We got Will Clark. He's sitting on an 8-game disabled list. He should be returned sometime next week. This is the rookie's, I think, 4th time on the disabled list. He can't stay healthy at all this year. His bat's kind of cold, and he's just not making the cut this year. So hopefully when he comes back, he kind of get back on track. And then we got the hit king, Pete Rose. He leans himself on the DL for the first time, 6 games. And probably one of the big blows on the National League is we got Pedro Guerrero, who hit himself with a 15-game DL stint. He won't be back until almost the 3rd week in June. Guerrero, as of now, leads the team in home runs and RBIs. So I believe he has 16 home runs and 40 RBIs. Definitely the power behind the Dodgers lineup. So let's see what the Dodgers are going to do over these next 15 games, trying to fill the hole that he's left in that lineup. But that's probably the major blow there for the Dodgers. So that might open the door for the Astros. Now, taking a look at our career milestone update as of the 1st of June. And we know we're currently looking at 4 players: Don Sutton, Mike Schmidt, Steve Carlton, and Bert Blyleven. And as we know, Don Sutton reached his 300-win plateau. So he's earned another victory since then. So we got 301. So he already hit the milestone. And then we got Bert Blyleven, who had a kind of a shaky start this past week. Didn't get too many. I think he got 6 strikeouts in total. So he's up to 67 on the season. And he's at 2,942. So he has 58 strikeouts for hitting that, coveted 3,000 strikeouts. Then we got Mike Schmidt. He's been hitting the cover off the ball as of late. He's trying to go for 500. Has 10 currently on the season. So he's at 468. So he is 32 home runs off the pace. So hopefully he can stay healthy. And the issues he's been on the DL 3 times this year. So if he can stay off the DL, it's a pretty good shot that maybe he might hit that 500 mark towards the end of the season. So, and then finally, striving to get to that 4,000 strikeout, Mr. Lefty himself, Steve Carlton. He currently has 54 strikeouts on the year. He's at 3,974. He only needs 26 more strikeouts. He's averaging roughly 5 strikeouts per game. So if he can stay healthy, I think he should be able to break this probably within a month or 2. But we'll see. He's been beat up the last couple of starts. And hopefully he could get that very attainable goal. So those are the current milestone updates, with Don Sutton already hitting his milestone. So we'll just keep on following Bert, Steve, and Mike. And hopefully they can break their records or break the milestones for themselves. So let's go on to the American League stat leaders as of June 1st. So we got a little mix here on the batting average. Wade Boggs has been having a pretty good week hitting the ball. Too bad the Red Sox can't follow with some wins, but he's up to a 379 batting average, with rookie Wally Joyner staying on his tail. We're at 373. We got Wally Joyner with 15 home runs, tied with Jim Presley, who's on the 10-game DL. So he ain't going anywhere. Bill Buckner, 47 RBIs, with Julio Franco on his tail and Dave Kingman. And then stolen base-wise, Garrick Pettis, who has 48 stolen bases, currently on the DL. Ricky is slowly creeping up there with 42 stolen bases. And then as for the pitching side, we got Moose Haas having a great year for the Oakland Athletics with a 1.85 ERA. Tom Candiotti, as stated during the week, got his 9th victory of the season. He's 9-1 currently. Roger Clemens leading the league in strikeouts with 89. And the Angels closer, Donnie Moore, with 18 saves. He got beat up a little bit against the Orioles. He blew 1 save. And then, speaking of the Orioles, you got Don Ace. He has 15 saves. He's catching up on Donnie Moore. He also had a blown save in that series as well. So a lot of good things going on here for the American League. Now the bounce to the National League. We got Mr. Padre, the hit king for the Padres, Tony Gwynn. hitting 340. Then we got Pedro Guerrero, again, leading the league with 16 home runs, but with him on the 15-day DL, he shouldn't be in the lead too long, with Steve Garvey trying to catch up with his 15 home runs. And again, RBIs for Pedro is 40, with George Foster slowly creeping up to see if he can get past him. Stolen base-wise, we got Vince Coleman at 53 stolen bases. Every time that guy gets on base, good things happen. The problem with him is he can't get on base with a 221 average. So 53 stolen bases with a 221 average, that's pretty good. If he was a 300 hitter, he'd probably be up to 100 stolen bases by now. Steve Sachs at 49. And then on to the pitching. And right now, looking like the Triple Crown for the pitching side, we got Houston's Mike Scott with a 1.05 ERA, 8 wins, tied with a couple other pitchers there, 98 strikeouts. And you got Ken Howell, 14 saves. He blew his last 2 games with Jeff Reardon on his tail, who's blown his last 2 saves. So let's see, they're all bunched up there, and see if those guys could kind of sort that things out. But that is the National League. So now, as we're coming close to the end, we're going to go over the final division of the National League. The prior 2 videos, we went through the National League West and then the National League Central. So we're going to the National League East. So we are going to review the standings. So we got the Mets, who are 31-16. The Montreal Expos at 27-19. Philadelphia Phillies at 25-22. And the Pittsburgh Pirates at 23-24. So we're almost close there of having everyone at 500 or over 500. So that is going to be some interesting baseball when they start facing each other. So we're going to start off with the Montreal Expos. There's a lot going on here. Just to get over a quick couple things, if you have never seen any of the videos, anyone who's on the disabled list, I highlight in yellow. So as you can see there, Hubie Brooks and Mike Fitzgerald are currently on the DL. Anyone that might have been traded away is going to be in that bluish gray line there. So Tim Nido got traded Wednesday of this past played week to the Kansas City Royals. And then all those players in purple at the bottom, these are players that are going to be called up or traded to the team. And those are the dates they are going to start with the team. So I have them on there. And once they hit those marks, they will be able to join and play for the season. All the way over there on the right, the last column there with the red G. All those green numbers are the actual games they played in 1986. So I like to put that there as a quick reference to help me out as I'm doing the starting lineups. And as you go through here, you see that I wasn't able to filter them. So I kind of just left them as I had it here. So we got Tim Raines, who leads the team in average with a 333 mark. Home run wise, I believe it is Andre Dawson, who has 9 home runs. And he also leads the team with 39 RBIs. So the Hawk is doing his part, and he has a 318 batting average. So he is definitely helping out his team. He's one of the better players on the Expos next to the Rock Raines. But the Hawk is doing it with the bat. And then, of course, Raines with the 38 stolen bases. So that's what we got there. So they're hitting 266 as a team overall. They could kind of raise their averages, especially on some of their bench players. Kind of help them out here. So right now, they're having issues with having a pretty good, reliable first baseman. Andres Galarraga, the rookie, he's a stellar defensive first baseman. His bat has gotten hot as of late, so he might land himself at a starting role there at first base, but his first 15 games haven't been that fantastic at the plate. So that's what we're looking at there. So you guys could, easily pause this and kind of look through here what's going on with the Expos. As we're going to continue on to see their pitching staff. Now, again, just a quick review of the pitching staff. Again, the players in purple down toward the bottom, those are the dates that they're either traded to the team or they get called up from the minors, or so that's those two purple there. We did again get a trade by trading Tom Nido to the Kansas City Royals for starting pitcher Dennis Leonard. So he's going to be the fifth man in the starting rotation. So he's had a pretty good first start in the week. Gave up 2 runs in a complete game. So he's definitely a bright start. That's going to help the pitching staff out there. Pretty much average here. Jay Tibbs and Floyd Yeomans, they're 5-3. Bryn Smith 5-5. So we got their 4 and 5 starters, Bob Sabra, rookie Bob Sabra, and Joe Hesketh. They're beat up a little bit, 5.50 and 7.50 ERA. So with Leonard's takeover of Hesketh's part, we just got to see about Dennis Martinez when he decides, when it actually happens and the trade happens, he might pick up that 4th spot, and maybe that might put the Expos over the edge to maybe catch those Mets. But that is your starting pitching and relief pitchers for the Expos. So off to the team of the National League, which is the New York Mets. That is what we got going on here. And then another thing here, if you see that the player's name is highlighted in green, they are a rookie as per the MLB rookie eligibility. So we got Keith Mitchell and Ed Hearn, rookies for the 86 season. So overall, 270 batting average. A lot of good hitters on this team. Keith Hernandez and Gary Carter. Lenny Dykstra, he's definitely doing it with the bat, doing it on the bases too, 37 stolen bases. Probably one of the biggest surprises this year has been George Foster. He has been playing out in left field and has kind of adapted that designated hitter role. So he's a good power bat. And in the 40 games he's played between left field and DH, he's hitting .308, which is pretty good. But he has 14 home runs and 39 RBIs. So that's an added bonus from George Foster, the good player from the Cincinnati Reds. So George Foster's seeing his better days. So he's heading towards retirement eventually. But he's having a good year, so he's a big help in that middle of that lineup there. And then kind of a disappointment, but not really. Darryl Strawberry, 207 batting average, which isn't that great, but he's still's got the pop in his bat. 12 home runs, 31 RBIs. He does get on base with walks, 35 walks. I think that's top 5 of the National League. 25 stolen bases. So when he gets on base, he's definitely a threat on base. But when he gets on base, that's the problem. Again, a 207 batting average, and as you can see there, I believe he leads the National League in strikeouts with 56. So, like most things, like the power hitters of today, it's a walk, strikeout, or home run. So as per the straw man, the 207 batting average. So he put some more hits on the board, and if he can get himself straight, this Mets is going to be even better than where they're at. So he's the only one I could see hitting the ball at 207. It's a little bit of a downer, but still a good bat to have in your lineup. So that is the Mets. Now to the piece de resistance of the Mets. Their starting pitching has been unstoppable this year. The only sad part about it is their ace, Dwight Gooden, 4-6 record with a 3.54 ERA, even though he has 80 strikeouts. For some odd reason, he starts off the game like a villain. His first 6 innings, he's virtually unstoppable. So when we get to the 7th and 8th inning, right around the time he gets tired, he gives up the 3-run homer here, a grand slam there. So he gets kind of beat up, and he can't buy a run late in the inning. So his 4-6 record is a little misleading. He's pitching fantastic, but man, late in the game, he just can't do it. And then for how well he pitches, once we get to the 6th and 7th, it's kind of like, well, who are we going to put in? And we can still get a good inning out of him. It just 7th, 8th, and 9th innings for Gooden hasn't been that fantastic. But we got Ron Darling at 6-3, Bob Ojeda 6-1, El Cid Fernandez 7-2, and Rick Aguilera at 7-0. And take a look at all their ERAs: 2.6, 3.2, 2.04, 3.95. These guys are pitching their innings, and you can see it reflected on their relief pitchers. These guys are pitching deep into the game, 7, 8, 9 innings. As you can see up there with the complete games from the starting trio, we got 5 complete games from Gooden, 1 from Darling, 2 from Ojeda, 3 from Fernandez. They are definitely are on all cylinders. So it's tough. The best thing that seemed to beat the Mets here is trying to get into that bullpen, but man, it's tough to knock off those starting pitchers. But they are the pitchers are just 1 through 5, all dangerous so far this year. And then we got Jesse Orozco and Roger McDowell are kind of swapping back and forth between closer role. I've been kind of using both of them back and forth. I've been using Orozco kind of as a setup man in the 8th inning, and that seems to be doing quite well. McDowell had 2 rough starts to begin the year where he got most of his runs scored against him. So he's been kind of lights out his past 9 games in there. But again, with Orozco doing so good there in the setup role, if McDowell blows another game or so or has another rough outing, I might switch it up where McDowell might switch to the setup role and get Orozco into the closing role. But that's what's going on. That's what's going on right now for the Mets. So Mets definitely the beasts of the East and that National League overall. So let's head off to the Philadelphia Phillies. Overall, 237 batting average. They not hitting too well as a team. I don't think they have a single player batting over 300. We got Juan Samuel with a 286 batting average, who leads the team there. They just can't. Their bench is horrible is a word, but I mean I think their bench is just terrible when it comes to hitting. If I have anyone barely hitting over 200, it's very, very discerning. So trying to grab a player in the DH role, there's no one really too consistent. Rick Shue has been a very good addition to that DH role. He definitely has the pop and the power. I don't like to have him start at third base, especially with Mike Schmidt being a 1. But Shu has definitely filled into that DH role quite well. It might be something where the Phillies might have to look for a decent bat. And I don't know if we're looking for power, for home runs, or we're just looking for average because, again, it's very bleak. A 237 team average is rough. That ain't going to. They have an over 500 record, but they, these guys are not going to torch any teams with runs. That's what we got there with the Phillies. Again, you could take a look there and see what's going on. We got Mike Schmidt and Von Hayes. They're tied with 10 home runs apiece. Schmidt only has 27 RBIs compared to Von's 30. But again, Schmidt has been on the disabled list at least 3 times with a minimum, I think, of 6 games, all 3. So he's sitting at 33 games. So it's about 17 games off the pace of where he should have been if he'd not. So additional 17 games, his numbers would probably be a little bit better. So let's go on to their pitching staff, which has been kind of a surprise here. We have Steve Carlton, who's holding his own at 6-4. Kevin Gross, he's a 50-50 player there. We got Shane Raleigh, who's actually doing quite well, 7-3. Don Carmen, who kind of was in between with Dave Stewart himself, kind of being that 4th starter this year. And then once the Phillies released Dave Stewart, I kind of put Don Carmen into that definite role, and he has gone from 0-2 with like a +7 ERA to 3-2 at a 3.81. So he's definitely come to life. And then Charles Hudson there, kind of stellar. He has a good start then a bad start, a good start and a bad start. So we got to try to find some more consistency there in that 5th spot. So maybe with some call-ups in June with Bruce Ruffin and Mike Maddox in the AAA, maybe they will help here. And then a little bit of a shocker and a little bit of a surprise this year. Our closer, I've changed the closer. It began with Steve Bedrosian. He was the beginning closer. And as you can see, there's 3 saves and 1 blown save in 12 games. And I used him probably in the first 4 or 5 games when I put him in, and he blew his first game and just gave up a bunch of runs, and he can't get the deal done. And I know we have Kent Tekulve, who was a great closer for the Pirates. So I had him as our setup man, and he was doing fantastic in that 8 role, but then by the time we got to the 9th, it was kind of just, you couldn't do anything. So I decided that, well, let's kind of switch things around a little bit and make Bedrosian our setup man, and Tekulve our closer. So that's what I currently have now. And Tekulve has 9 saves with a 1.13 ERA. That's some closer stats right there. And Bedrosian, even though he's my setup man, I still don't have confidence in him because, again, a 4.7 ERA, I definitely don't want to have him in the 9th. And at this point, if the game is close with 1 or 2 runs, I'm not too confident of him as a setup man either. So that's why it was kind of hurt when they released Larry Anderson, because I was kind of using him in that setup role too. So maybe Bedrosian could kind of get some confidence and string a couple games together to kind of get himself back on track. I still don't know if I'll get him back as a closer, but right now Kent Tekulve he's just killer. So, and Bedrosian might be a possibility of trading him to another team. But that's what we're looking at there at the Phillies. And for the final team in the East, we got the Pittsburgh Pirates. Another team that doesn't hit too well. 235 batting average, 1 less than the Phillies. they have a mixture of good veterans and good players. They just can't seem to get the right hit at the right time. And with the recent addition of Barry Bonds, that rookie center fielder, see what he could bring to the top of the lineup, and definitely some better defense out there. Bring some speed too. Right now we got Joe Orsulak, who's leading the teams in steals, but again, as you can see there, a 199 batting average. Can't steal the base, you don't get on base. So he doesn't walk that much, and he doesn't get hits that much. So, I'm glad Bonds is now on board, and he can kind of help out here. And then a couple trades that the Pirates have had over the last couple of weeks, picking up Tony Armas, Donnie Hill, and Tom O'Malley. Tom O'Malley was a great help with the Orioles early in the season before they got Terry Pendleton. So he was an asset to free up, and again, he's only been 3 games in, not doing too good, but we'll keep an eye out to see what he's doing. And Tony Armas is always a stellar bat. He's batting .212. So again, now with the addition of Barry Bonds, not too sure where Armas is going to go. If he's going to, platoon out there, or he might just fill the DH role. I'm not too sure. And then Donnie Hill, he's only played 1 game so far, but he's definitely a good replacement late in the game if we need him. Having a good year so far is Jim Morrison. 319 batting average. It's 22 RBIs, 7 home runs. Again, a little bit of a liability playing third, second, and shortstop. So, if we could get Donnie Hill, hitting some average, I might have him out there, and maybe Jim Morrison, and maybe he might be the DH. Who knows? But the Pirates are definitely a work in progress. And considering, the numbers that you see here, they're 1 game under 500. So 23 and 24, not too bad, considering their offense. There really isn't any. So, which leads to, if they're that kind of record, they have a decent pitching staff. And honestly, outside of Rick Russell, who has been tanking this year, he has been getting knocked all over the place at a 2-8 record. Everyone else has been kind of holding their weight. Rick Rhoden has been fantastic, 8-2 record, with help from Mike Bilecki and Bob Kuiper. But one of the bright spots has been Jose De Leon. He is 6-3. He's been out of that 5 spot there. He's been holding his own, a lot of strikeouts, eating a lot of innings, and De Leon and Rhoden has been really keeping the guys afloat here. Their bullpen, it's not awful, but they do have high ERAs. They'll come in and they'll pitch a couple innings of nothing, and then they'll come and then they'll give up 3, 4, 5 runs at a time, and which kind of blows away their ERA. But I haven't really found a good combination to help out Don Robinson, who's actually been quite good, considering he has 2 blown saves and a 2.08 ERA. He's been quite consistent. And then, but not a decent setup man. I've been using Jim Wynn. He seems to be consistent, not giving up too many runs. But again, either the Pirates are getting blown out or it's close. So it's tough to get them in there for that. But that's the Pittsburgh Pirates. And that is your National League East. So that is our run through for them. And since this week ends the month of May, we are adding the May Players of the Month. And as of now, for the American League, Wally Joyner, the rookie first baseman for the California Angels, he is the Player of the Month, batting .404 with 10 home runs and 22 RBIs. He really picked up the slack when Gary Pettis went on the DL at the end of April, and he just took the reins of the team, and he's been the lead man ever since. So if he get another one or two players that get hot, the Angels might give the Rangers some trouble. But Wally Joyner, definitely the player of the month. Probably could have gave him the rookie of the month as well, but that's just not fair. So, rookie of the month was catcher Dave Valley for the Mariners. The third catcher in that group there, hitting .438 with 6 home runs and 9 RBIs. He's getting hits, he's getting extra bases, he is hitting the long ball, but the problem is when he's doing all that, there's no one on base. So in the 13 games, like I said, hitting .438, 6 bombs, but 9 RBIs. And then we have him down in the lineup. We're slowly bringing him up, but no one can't get on. So, if he was more players on base, he'd definitely be dangerous. So let's keep an eye on him to see what we're doing. And, his good month of May might have bumped him up to maybe the second backup. And if he keeps this role, we might have him as the starting catcher. But definitely good month for him. For the Mariners, another bright spot. As for the pitcher of the month, we got rookie Ed Correa for the Rangers. He started 6 games, was 5-0 with a 1.72 ERA. Gave up only 9 earned runs, 1 home run, 39 strikeouts, 25 walks though, so he's averaging about 4 walks a game. So that's something that whole young Rangers starting staff likes to walk people. So that kind of holds him up a little bit. But he's having had a great month of May. And then as for the reliever of the month, Baltimore Orioles' Don Ace. 11 games, 1 win, 10 saves, a 0.00 ERA. He's just been killing it all month. And, he's been doing fantastic. And then, like everything else, Don Ace gets the reliever of the month. Next time he goes in, blows the save, gives up 4 runs, and he's now human again. So it's always something with this game. So that is our American League players of the month of May. So now as for our National League, we got right fielder Dave Parker, who hit .374 for the month, 4 home runs, 22 RBIs. He was red hot in May to help the Reds get over that slow start in April, where the Reds were in the middle of the pack all the way up to the first place now. Dave Parker was hitting below 200 at the end of April, so at .374 during the month of May has raised his average up to about 3. I think we're at 321. So he is definitely on fire. Rookie of the month for the National League, we had Kevin Mitchell. .339 batting average, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs. He's not an everyday player. We've been using him in the infield and the outfield. Again, had a very, very slow start in April, and he has caught fire the last 7 or 8 games, especially with Wally Backman going on the 15-day DL. So we have him playing short a lot more, and moving Rafael Santana over to second base, which kind of raises their defense. Their defense is actually worse with that, but considering his bats come alive, I'll take the defensive shortage on that. So good month of May for Kevin Mitchell. And then the Phillies, Shane Rawley, he's 5-0, and he has been 5 games, a 1.47 ERA. He's definitely been a bright spot for the Phillies, who started off really, really bad in April. So he's come alive. And he had a good month of May. And then for the reliever of the month, this was a tough one to pick. I mean, Ken Howell's numbers are fantastic. It's just his ERA is awful. A 5.29 in the month of May, which really doesn't put you on anyone's list. But he had 9 saves, and that's by far the most saves in the National League in the month of May by almost double. So he, when he got in there, he'd get the save and give a run here and there. So again, 6 runs over 10 innings. That's not that great ERA wise, but maybe he'll get better there. But yeah, so that's our American League and National League players the month of May, and then we have our All-Star Game ballot, which will be coming very, very soon. The 1986 All-Star Game is in the Astrodome, which is the home of the Houston Astros. So what I'll be doing is I'll be putting something together, a list of players from every team that are eligible to be voted on for the All-Star Game. I will probably put something, a survey together or something like this. I'm definitely going to, pick some of the players, and since everyone seems to be kind of following along, I like to have you kind of participate on your end if you're able to, and I'll get out a special All-Star edition for you guys to look over the players and kind of follow their stats a little bit, and maybe get a link out there to do a quick survey to see who we could get as our starting All-Star players and fill out the bench. I am going to add everything I can with that. There's going to be some fun things we could try to do with the All-Star Game. Again, that's not going to be for almost a whole other 6 weeks or so when it comes in terms of this game here. It's only June 1st, and the All-Star Game is about the second week of July. So we still got some time. But I think that's going to be my first game I'm actually going to play in video, is going to be the All-Star Game. So that'll be something fun that we could do. But I would like to put something together for you guys that are watching, and try to pick the All-Star Game, and have those players there, and maybe we could look at their stats, and those who are doing well get on there instead of just having the names of the players. But we'll see. That's more to come on that. So that is the end of week 8 of this 1986 replay. And maybe, we could get that All-Star Game information out soon. But again, always, guys, thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting this and watching this. I know it's a little slow. And I'm trying to get as many done as I can. And like I told you guys, sometimes, this is for leisure, and, I still have a life outside of this. So trying to get as much as I can done when I can. I'm trying to keep a schedule. If I could get 5 or 6 games done a day, I could get these videos out within 3 weeks. Another interesting thing before I let you guys go is, as I said from the very first video, is mastering all of the modes. And as of June 1st, that last game was going to be my last game playing at the basic mode. So I'm going to venture in to the advanced mode, starting games on June 2nd. So my first full week of advanced play will be my week 9 video. Don't know how long that's going to take. Hopefully it doesn't take any more than 3 weeks to get that done. Again, read through the manual. Again, just seems to be kind of basic, just a couple tweaks here and there that I have to remember. I saw a couple tutorials on the advanced mode. It's going to be interesting. Again, a little bit more in depth than the basic. But let's see what we could do with the advanced side, and see maybe that advanced side is a little bit more accurate to their cards up to this point, but we will find out. So yeah, so I am going to be venturing into the adventure mode. Hopefully I can still average 6 to 7 games a day. But that's where we're going to go there. So again, thank you for watching and following along. And again, you gladly can leave a comment. I do have my email down in the description. Hey, if you want to send me a message, it doesn't hurt, correct, good or bad. You want to email and say, hey, I'm enjoying watching it and following along. Great. If you want to email saying, this is terrible, this is awful, I can't believe you do this, then that's fine too. Constructive criticism is good sometimes. So thanks everybody, and I'll be seeing you soon with hopefully that all-star game ballot and what to do. And have a great day. And as always, everybody, play ball.